Hey everyone, it's Mark6 Matt. As you can see, we're playing BeamNG Drive right now. I've made one BeamNG Drive video on this channel in the past. It did alright, not really that great compared to the other videos on this channel, but honestly, it's pretty difficult to make anything car related, you know, when it's the winter time right now. So I figured I'd make this video instead. I wanted to release a video on this channel, and essentially what this video is going to be is just all the different mods that I have made for BeamNG Drive so far, and you can go download them with the link down in the description below. It's on the BeamNG Drive website. You can see my profile. This right here is a Lamborghini Aventador recreation that I made. I was still new to making stuff on Beam at the time, so this mod's pretty outdated. It's not the worst recreation of a Lamborghini ever, but it's pretty bad. And back in the day, really high compression motors would rev down really slowly. Now this next one is one of my better ones. This is a Mark6 GTI, which of course is the car that I own today, and this is just another recreation. Again, this one still has that issue of the revving down being super slow because this was a while ago. There was still some issues between automation and Beam. And, I mean, the front end of the car looks alright. I could definitely do a better job today. Maybe I will remake this one. And the rear end of the car is pretty rough. I think this one's still better than the Lamborghini, though. You're going to notice a pretty common theme with a lot of the cars here, though, as most of them are going to be recreations. But this one's alright, it sort of handles alright. I think a lot of the engine specs are close to what they should be stock. I don't really remember. The horsepower, though, and everything definitely is a little bit more than what you would actually get out of the real thing. Now this next one is super outdated. This is the Honda Accord that I tried to make. It didn't go super well, this first one, and I remade it later. But as you can see, it does look somewhat like a 7th gen Honda Accord, but it's really not the best. Again, this one has pretty inaccurate figures. I think the bore and stroke and the engine are pretty similar, but this thing handles like garbage, and it looks pretty garbage too, and that's why I remade it. Moving over to the next one I made, this is supposed to be an EK hatch stock Civic, obviously a nice 90s hatch, and this one came out pretty well. And I also made a Type R Civic version of this that I will show you in a second. This one looks pretty decent. It's a good looking car for being made in automation and for being in BeamNG Drive, and it's pretty accurate to a 90s Civic. Again, the horsepower figures might be a little bit greater than they should be. It's really hard to get them accurate in BeamNG Drive, but this car is really light, it's pretty good looking from the front, and it's just like a nice simple car to mess around with in Beam, honestly. So here is the Civic Type R, and obviously this one's a lot more fun than just the regular Civic. It's a lot faster, and it looks better as well. I think I put a lot more work into this car, and more people downloaded this one too, as I remember, and this one handles a lot better. But again, everything is accurate to that original Civic Type R. And I believe I even tried to get the gearing decently accurate, I'm not sure. But the gearing is at least reasonable on the recreations. Now here we start to get into some of my better recreations. So this is a Mark6 Volkswagen Jetta. So I made an accurate Volkswagen Jetta, and then I put a turbo on it, and this is the 2.5 inline 5 motor. So this is probably one of my favorites that I've ever made. And obviously you get a nice amount of horsepower with an engine like this. And the car also handles well. And there's also two other trims of this car, a stock Jetta and just a tuned Jetta. So there's a few different Jettas that you can mess around with if you go on the mod site and download it. But this turbo Jetta is obviously going to be my favorite, and I think this one looks pretty good as well as it tumbles around. I think this is a pretty accurate Volkswagen Jetta, Mark6 Jetta, with the headlights and the grille and everything, and also the rear end is pretty accurate as well, about as accurate as I could get it. And the final mods that I'm going to show you guys today are my 7th gen Accord recreation of my recreation. So like I said earlier, I showed you guys my original Accord and that was pretty crappy, so I remade it. And I think this one is a lot more accurate looking. It's one of the better recreations that I made. This is just the stock one I'm driving around right now. The rear end was the toughest part. I think it looks alright, but I think the front end looks really good and really accurate on these cars. The engine is also pretty accurate, again a little bit more horsepower than it actually has in real life, and that's because automation and beam horsepower doesn't exactly carry over perfectly, so it's definitely still not a fast car by any means. I also went ahead and made a few turbo versions of this car. I also made a tuned version of it. This one I don't believe is actually available yet on the BeamNG Drive website. I'll probably post it soon, but this is like a race version with, you know, a wide body kit, all-wheel drive swap, and a lot of horsepower. So I made this one. It's not posted yet. I'll probably post it soon. And then there's just like a regular, you know, tuner turbo one as well. So there's some cool stuff you can mess around with. Ooh. And this one even has a hood dump, which I haven't seen a lot of people do in Beam, but the hood dump does actually work, and you can shoot flames out of it. So yeah, everyone, go ahead and check out those mods down below in the description. Figured some people might be interested in this. Let me know if you have any video ideas or anything down in the comments below. I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching.